Hola, and welcome to Elementary Spanish. This is the grammar lecture for 1.1. Each week you'll get grammar lectures for half of the assessment. So this will be the first of 2 lecture videos for the first week's assignments. The first topic we're going to tackle are Spanish nouns. Just like in English, a noun is going to be a word that's a person, place, or a thing, or an idea. So an idea sometimes is the piece that gets left out there. The difference in English and Spanish is that even those that refer to non-living things have a gender. So in English, we wouldn't give a plant a gender. But in Spanish, it would have a gender that would determine the article that comes before the word. Also, in Spanish, we do have plural versus singular, which we refer to as having a number. So a group of people versus a person, we would have a group versus a person, where group is plural, person is singular. I would have multiple people could be them, they, whereas singular people would be he or she. So we do have context of things like shoes, plural, or shoe, singular, that apply to nouns as well as to people, which is a subgroup of nouns. When we talk about nouns, we have masculine nouns and feminine nouns. Masculine nouns have the article el, el, that precedes the noun. Sometimes these make a lot of sense, like a man is masculine, a boy is masculine. However, sometimes there's a little bit of intuitiveness that has to come in if we don't have a person and we have a noun that's maybe related to an object. Feminine nouns are la, L-A, and again, these make sense, like a woman, a girl. If it's a female passenger, it would be la pasajera, as opposed to a male passenger, which is el pasajero. So when you're in Portales, it's very important that you look for context in the scenario to know if you have a male or a female teacher, passenger, professor, tourist, etc. So you use the proper article in front of it. Generally, nouns that refer to males are masculine, while nouns that refer to females are going to be feminine. Like el hombre, the el tells us we have a male, but hombre is also male. Mujer also means lady or female, so the article in front is feminine. Many nouns that do not refer specifically to male beings end in an O or an OR. The corresponding feminine form would end in an A or an ORA. So el conductor ends in an OR, which is consistent with a male ending. La profesora would be the female, consistent with the female ending. El profesor would be the male form of that noun. The masculine and the feminine forms of nouns that end in ista, like turista, are the same, so gender is indicated by the el or la. So we don't have a masculine form of the word turista. It's just turista. So that el turista is a male tourist, la turista is a female tourist. We're not changing the actual ending of the noun. A few other nouns have the exact same situation, like joven. We don't change the word joven, we change the article in front of it to indicate male or female. Estudiante is the same. I don't change the word estudiante, I change the article that precedes it to indicate male or female. Nouns that refer to non-living things, you have to memorize the correct article. So this is the time where flashcards come in really handy, and you don't want to just put on your flashcard the word, you want to put the article with the word. So cuaderno on your index card should say el cuaderno. You should learn the article with the word. That way you've got the correct gender. So as you're doing the grammar exercise in Portales, it's a memorization retrieval activity. So instead of just putting cosa, you should put la cosa, because you have to memorize that that is going to be feminine. Now, what you're going to notice is nouns that end in O are masculine. So that is a memory trick to identify if it's masculine versus feminine. The same thing if it ends in M-A, that would seem like it should be feminine because it ends in an A, but it's actually masculine. And then we have some that ends in S that are masculine as well. So these endings are not comprehensive. That's why I say it's important to put the article and the word on your flashcard, because just like in English we have exceptions, there are exceptions in Spanish where these endings may not be relevant, but you still have to know what article to use. So noun endings are strongly associated with a specific gender, but there are exceptions that occur to those specific rules. So it's in your best interest to just train yourself to know the article with the ending on the index cards. You want to know the rules of what it ends in, but it's really going to be helpful if you start working with the article and the word as a team. Because the gender of nouns that refer to non-living things can't be done with foolproof rules, again, this is why you should memorize the gender. It's very difficult when you start looking at endings of inanimate objects like plants or things like that. They're not always going to be consistent. So that's why the memorization is really going to be key there. Another reason we would want to memorize gender would be the exceptions to the rule. So a map. A map in English has no gender, but in Spanish it is el mapa. It is masculine even though it ends in A. It's an exception to the ending rule. So the ending rule, just like English, has exceptions, like I before E except after C. And then you've got all these other list of exceptions that come in English. The same is true in Spanish. It might end in an A and still be masculine. This is why it's so important to just work on memorizing the article with the vocabulary word as you move through your Spanish class. The plural form of nouns, we simply add an S if it ends in a vowel. For nouns that end in a consonant, we add ES. This is similar to English. For nouns that end in a Z, I change the Z to a C, and then I add ES to the end of it. So chico, chicos. El diario, los diarios. El problema, los problemas. And then if we look at el lápiz, that's the one that I really want to draw your attention to. I drop the Z, or I change the Z to a C, however it helps you think about this. And then I add the ES ending to get los lápices. So in general, when we're taking a singular noun and it has an accent mark on that last syllable, we would drop it off in plural form. This is a place that Portales is really going to be a place to pay attention to, making sure that if you type lecciones with an accent over the O, it's going to mark it wrong because you should have dropped the accent. So before you click submit in Portales, ask yourself, should this have an accent? If it's plural, the answer is no. It will be dropped in the plural form. Masculine plural form refers to a group of male and females in Spanish. If there is one male in the group, it is automatically a male group. It doesn't matter if you have 500 women with one male in the group. It becomes masculine, the whole group. So if I have estudiantes and there's one male and there's 30 female, it is los estudiantes, where los is the plural masculine form. So it's really important to remember that with gender. It's just how it works in the language. Spanish articles would be in English like the or a or an. Spanish has definite and indefinite articles just like English does. However, unlike English, the articles may vary in form because they agree with gender and number of the nouns they modify. So I'm really looking at what is being modified, and that determines my article. Whereas in English, I can use the for a male or a female thing. It doesn't matter because I don't have inanimate objects with gender. Spanish is different. Indefinite articles, Spanish has 4 forms of the indefinite article that are equivalent to the. I have el, los, la, las. Where el and la are singular, los and las are plural, but they all mean the. I also have multiple forms of a. Un and unos, una and unas would be a, an, or some. So that could apply to any one of them just depending on the context of the sentence. If it's a, it needs to be singular. If it would be plural, it would be some passengers or some photographs. And that is the end of the first grammar lecture. So feel free to go back and watch this as much as you need to acclimate yourself to some of the unique rules within the Spanish course. And then when you're ready, you can move on to the next lecture.